guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be covering my political beliefs or leanings. I guess it's what was requested and voted upon. So I guess we're going to be covering 3 topics for starts. Key political issues, not only for myself, but what's going on in the country right now. So without further ado, I guess let's get this started. Number 1, the cameraman is being inappropriate. Alright, so number 1 would be my opinion on guns, or more professionally, the Second Amendment. Let's take a step back. I should first just announce that I'm politically moderate, middle of the road. I either go all out with some aspects, or the left and the right, or I don't touch them at all. Back to the gun control stuff, or the Second Amendment, I'm with the right wing on that one all the way. Like, I'm probably more pro Second Amendment than a lot of conservative Republicans. I don't have, a $1 million collection of firearms, but I do have my personal collection of what's necessary. Maybe a gun that's not absolutely necessary, but I think that the right to keep and bear arms is important. I don't like a lot of the violence that's happening right now. I don't agree with the left wing or Democrats' opinions on ways to prevent gun violence. I feel like, I want to say the Democrats think with their feelings a lot, but I think that both sides actually think with their feelings a lot instead of their head. And the left wing's really bad at thinking with their thoughts. They see these things that happen on the news, on TV, on social media, and they get upset, especially if they can view or exposed to graphic photos or video recording or whatever, and so that makes people upset, especially when kids are dying, because that's been a thing lately. And they're like, oh my god, this has to stop. And a lot of humans in general aren't critical thinkers, so they just jump to what they see, and what they see is, oh, these guns are killing people, these loonies are killing people. But the way they want to handle it doesn't make any sense. And maybe it makes sense in their mind, but they're not using their mind the way that they could. Because I feel like if you really sit down and thought this through, or if you've ever been out in the world and experienced things and met people, then you would know that just because you make something illegal doesn't mean that it comes out of circulation and people stop using it or doing bad things or whatever. There's plenty of drugs that are illegal. They've been illegal for about 100 or more years, and people have been using them the entire time that they were illegal. So to conclude how I feel about guns, definitely pro Second Amendment. That can be talked about, questioned, or debated in further videos, all in their own. I guess we'll go on to gays. So obviously that's another hot topic right now in the country. Obviously I'm gay, so I'll have my own personal bias along with my professional political opinions of gay stuff, gay culture, gay people. As far as gays go, that's one of those where I'm pro LGBT, obviously. If I was a heterosexual, I don't know how much I would support the gay community, but I'm pretty supportive. In general, the sad thing is I actually don't like a lot of gay people. I think the culture is kind of weak, lame, cringe, but that's just my opinion. A lot of gays are promiscuous, and they don't believe in loyalty. And I don't know if that's just a thing of the times, and that, you know, that's all over, no matter what your sexuality is. But it just adds, you know, the amount of encounters that I've had with these types of people just further enforces that the community is really weak, that the culture is weak. And when I say weak, I don't mean obviously as far as strength. I mean as far as aesthetically pleasing to other humans that are not part of that culture, morally, you know, appealing. In conclusion, I would say that I'm definitely pro-gay, pro-LGBT all the way. Even though I don't like some of the culture, for me at the end of the day, it's strength in numbers. And maybe one day the culture can become more accountable or more appealing to people in general, but you know, that day may not come in my life. Or maybe it will. You know, a lot of things have already changed, and it seems like we're going in the correct direction, so we'll see what happens with that. LGBTQ plus, you're talking about for all the
Trans
radical,
and non-binary.
well, you know, for me, I think some of the stuff is silly. Not trans, it's more so this new stuff they've added on, like non-binary, you know, because trans stuff has been around for a long time. I mean, I'm pretty sure that even goes back to the ancient times. So, you know, for trans people, they feel a certain way, like they're in the wrong body, the wrong gender, and, you know, they want to live their life a certain way. And that's fine. I pretty much don't care. It goes to my root feelings of how to treat people and in general. And that's pretty much live and let live. You know, as long as they're doing their own thing and it ain't negatively impacting me or my people, I really don't care. Do what you want. As far as the new stuff, the non-binary, I've heard a few opinions of, you know, what this stuff is all about. Some of the people that claim these things have made videos talking about what it means to them. But for me, like I said, you know, you can do whatever you want. I don't care. You know, say what you want, do what you want. That's your thing. But me personally, the way I view it is in more of a scientific, how do you say, viewpoint. Is like non-binary. To me, that would imply that you don't have a gender, you know, because I mean, we're talking about binary or code or something, and that, to me, that's just a 0 and a 1. So we'll say the 0 is female and the 1 is male. As long as you're born human, at least in this current time, you're gonna have a 0 or a 1. And that's that. You know, at the end of the day, you know, it is what it is. I don't care what you have or what you want to have, but I would just ask that you be more realistic about it. Like, think with your head, not with your feelings. And you know, don't expect me, you know, to be rational with you if you're not going to be rational with me about that one. A third viewpoint or questionnaire is about global warming. My viewpoint or opinion about the matter has changed a little bit here and a little bit there throughout my life. You know, from basically not understanding or caring about what it is to having an understanding of it and caring, but also it seems like, you know, there's records and data and evidence about global warming, but there's also politics involved these days, and obviously that's why I'm including my opinion about this issue. The politics of it usually boil down to money. You know, people that are pushing green power, you know, there's a lot of money in that. You know, like the companies that manufacture solar panels, the people that make the windmills. There's a lot of money involved on both sides, the people that want it and the people that don't. You know, the people that don't care too much for it are usually conservatives, and they either have a stake themselves in the oil industry, or they're arrogant about it. They just don't want to see change. I guess that's why they're conservative, and that's their opinion, and that's fine or whatever. But oil money is big money too. So I wish that the politics could be taken out of it, and the money could be taken out of it, and it could be approached directly from a scientific approach, a method, a way to set up, a green power source, renewable energy, without all the big money and the corporations involved. So it's like more authentic, because when humans do something out of greed, that's just what it is. Something's getting done, and it's about money, and usually it's not even the real fix. It's just something that kind of works, and it makes a lot of money for a lot of people, and then things have to be maintained and taken care of, and there's more money. So for climate change, things have happened. There's the lake just outside of Vegas on the way to the Hoover Dam. What's that lake called? Well, you can easily find it.
How is it?
I don't know what the lake name is, but it's the one that the Hoover Dam created. But there's evidence like that, like watching how much it's dried up over the last few decades to a yearly ratio now, or a yearly rate, annual rate. So I do believe that things are happening, and things will continue to happen. But I think as long as we got the polarized two-party system in the United States, it's not going to happen the way that it should happen. So I guess a bonus topic to cover would be the debt ceiling. I'm not much of an economist. I do pay attention to the economy. It's more of a personal predictions, knowing what to expect type of thing. Obviously the debt ceiling is considerably higher than it was decades ago, when I was a child. And, some people were concerned about it back then, but it's definitely becoming a problem. What do I think about the debt ceiling personally? It is what it is. As far as what should be done about it, there's research and videos you can look at YouTube that shows there's practically nothing that can be done about it. So it's more like what's going to happen about it, the way that I see things. And some people will say, well, what you're about to say is going to make you sound like a conspiracy theorist, a right-wing, left-wing nut job, whatever you want, whatever label. I've heard it all. But the evidence points to things getting really bad in the United States, economically speaking. If they keep raising the debt ceiling, the Federal Reserve is going to print more money, and it's going to inflate the currency, because now you have more of these dollars, flying around or whatever, and the value of each individual dollar decreases the more copies are made. So inflation's going to get worse. The price of things are going to go up. Minimum wage probably won't be too, good about keeping up with the inflation. And it's just a recipe for disaster. Whether it leads to somebody actually doing something, which is pretty much impossible from what I've seen. It seems as if it's impossible. How much money the United States federal government brings in versus how much it spends, and what it would have to do to balance the budget or start paying off the ceiling, or the debt. It's just not currently possible. The only way that it would be remotely possible is if the United States started manufacturing things like it did a long time ago in the prior century or two before that. Be becoming an economy-based country, where instead of relying on tax income, you also get most of your income from exported goods and whatnot. Nowadays all the exporting is coming from China. Everything's built in China, made in China, and then it's brought here. So there's really no no exports or whatever for the government to tax in great enough capacity to make this a, you know, an economy-based country, or there's another word for it. But either way, it's not doable right now. So a lot of things have to change, and unfortunately I don't see them changing. I think that inflation is going to get worse. The debt ceiling might get raised. If it doesn't get raised, then our economy could collapse overnight just because of the ramifications of the United States not raising the debt ceiling and defaulting on its debt, not paying, you know, anything on interest or whatever. Is going to be really bad for our world credit rating, our economy. It might just keep getting the debt ceiling raised, and inflation will... Basically what it boils down to is, do you want it all at once, or do you want things to, you know, boil up and reach a flash point and then everything falls apart? Because that's the only two outcomes I really see. So that's to conclude the debt ceiling. I think that we're in a world of shit, and it's only a matter of time before the pot starts melting. Alright guys, thanks for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that jazz, and we'll see you next time.
You just wanna